This origin begins with the story of a rat. Not any rat, but a very unique, very adept, and very loyal rat. Let me tell you a story. In 1964 Japan, a young rat, a pet bought and cared for by Hamato Yoshi, mimicked his master's movements, and so learned the martial art of ninjutsu. Its owner and teacher was said to be the greatest shadow warrior of his clan, called Foot, the most feared warriors and assassins in all Japan. Another member of the clan was Oroku Nagi. He and Master Yoshi competed fiercely in all things, especially for the love of a young woman, Tang Shen. But Tang Shen loved only one, the rat's owner, Hamato Yoshi. One night, Nagi went to Shen's home and demanded that she love him. Shen refused. Nagi began to beat her. At that moment, Yoshi entered the room. Yoshi's world vanished in a red haze, and when it cleared, Nagi was no more. Yoshi's shame was great. By killing a member of his clan, he had dishonored himself. His choices were simple, but not easy. To take his own life and hope for honor in the next life, or flee with Shen to another country and try to start life again. He chose the latter, taking with him a few belongings, including the rat. And so Yoshi went with Shen to New York, where he formed a small martial arts school. Meanwhile, in Japan, Nagi's family, especially his younger brother Saki, mourned his death. The 7-year-old Saki vowed vengeance on Yoshi. The Foot took hold of Saki's anger and used it to bend him to their own purposes. Saki began intensive training in the ninja's art and soon surpassed his teachers until becoming the leader. Saki moved quickly, and within a year, he had built the New York Foot into a force to be reckoned with. Under Saki's leadership, the Foot was involved in many criminal activities: drug smuggling, arms running, and their specialty, assassination. Saki, now called the Shredder, was successful, but he was not satisfied. In his heart burned hatred for Hamato Yoshi and his wife Tang Shen. On a night in 1969, Saki finally made his move.
The time is right. I have tracked them down. For the murderer of my brother, there will be no escape.
Master Yoshi came home that evening, never expecting that his most dangerous enemy was lying in wait. Entering the apartment, his gaze fell on the still, silent form of his beloved Shen. Then he saw her killer. Good Lord! Who are you?
I am Oroku Saki.
Oh no! Ah! During the struggle, the rat's cage was smashed. It was free, but Master Yoshi was dead. In its grief, the rat wandered the streets, living off scraps of garbage. Then one day, while it was searching a trash can for its next meal, it witnessed an accident. An old blind man crossing the street was almost run down by a large truck. At the last moment, a young man leaped at the blind man and knocked him out of the truck's way. As the truck screeched to a jarring stop, a metal canister bounced out of the back of the truck and struck the young man near his eyes. Unnoticed by the crowd, the strange canister kept bouncing several more times, striking and smashing a glass jar which held 4 small turtles. The 4 baby turtles fell into the manhole, followed by the canister. Fortunately, a pile of dead leaves and papers broke their fall, but the canister smashed open, releasing a glowing ooze which covered their bodies as they crawled around in it. The rat followed them into the storm drain and, without knowing exactly why, gathered them up in a coffee can, took them to his burrow and washed off as much of the goo as he could. The next morning, the rat awoke to find the can tipped over and the 4 of the turtles doubled in size. Somehow that strange ooze had affected their growth. The rat learned that it had changed him also, making him smarter and larger. However, it did not grow as fast as the turtles did, for within a year, they had reached an adult size. The turtles would follow the rat everywhere, except above ground. He could not risk them being discovered. He was surprised at how intelligent they seemed, but he was not ready for what happened one day. One of them said a word that he had heard.
Splinter?
And from then on, it became the rat's name for the turtles. More words followed, and soon they were all speaking.
Radical! Monoguchi? Star Trek! Pizza! Pizza!
Around that time, they started to stand upright and copy the rat's movements. The rat began training them and teaching them all that it had learned from watching Master Yoshi. It taught them the use of weapons, the art of stealth, and all it knew of this world. Using a battered copy of a book on Renaissance art that the rat fished out of the storm drain, it chose names for each of them. It named them Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael.